Coach, thanks for being with us. Congratulations on being back to Atlanta. If you don't mind, could you, before we take questions, could you give us some comments on wrapping up the season and preparing for SEC championship game with Texas in Atlanta?
Yeah, our guys are excited to return to Atlanta in one of the most iconic games there is of championship games. And I think when you look over the history of this game, it's got a great tradition, great atmosphere. I know having coached in it a lot of years between Alabama and Georgia, it's absolutely an incredible atmosphere. It's two teams battling for a conference championship, which is eluded many teams in this conference. And with the new teams in our conference, the strength of this thing is just incredible. And to look at opportunity to play for the championships of this conference is really a special moment. And you know, so many fan bases are tied to Atlanta. The fact that it's held in Mercedes, it's just such a good venue. And now, we look forward to, games after that as well in the college football playoff, which is new. So it should be a great atmosphere. Texas has got a super quality team. I have so much respect for Sark for the rivalry game they played in last night. It was extremely physical game for them, emotional game for them. Their team has really navigated the SEC really well, especially on a first-year team coming in. He built the roster to be SEC compatible, and they are extremely big and physical across both fronts, and they have experience at a multitude of positions, and they've got a great team. So it'll be a great challenge for us, and we're looking forward to playing there in Atlanta.
Thank you, Coach. For questions, please use the raise hand function, and we'll begin with Terry Middleton of Horns Illustrated.
Coach Smart, thank you for being with us and congratulations on making it to the championship. So from a month and a half ago, approximately, have you seen Texas make any dramatic changes to their offense that is going to worry you or may cause you to, reevaluate how you defend against Texas?
Well, Terry, if you don't know anything about me, I worry about everything. So I'm very concerned about everything about Texas because they have a extremely talented roster. They have great special teams. They've got wideouts, backs. I mean, even through the injuries, I think both of us have had significant injuries at running back. Significant. I mean, I think we were out. We've been without our three of the backs that were supposed to be our best. So has Texas, and both teams have navigated that well. I think it's a credit to their offensive staffs. But Texas's backs have been elite, have played really good. Their defense is elite, one of the best in the country. Special teams are elite. So when you ask about worries throughout from the last month and a half, I was worried a month and a half ago, and I'm worried now because they got really good players and they do a great job. I know the job Sark does offensively and with his overall staff.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Josh Newman of Lone Star Live.
Hey, Kirby. Excuse me. As you prepare for this game, how much do you expound from what you saw from Texas 6 weeks ago when you guys played versus maybe more of what they've done recently since you guys played?
We look at it all. So, I mean, as coaches, you watch all the tape and try to make the best decisions that fit your team.
And just a quick follow-up. Once upon a time in a 14 playoff, the winner of this game would obviously go to the playoff. The loser would likely be out. In a 12-team playoff, both of these teams will be in a 12-team playoff. Does the SEC championship game lose a little bit of luster just because both teams are going to a playoff no matter what happens?
It depends on who you ask. But when you ask a guy that's been in the SEC for about 30 years and has only been a part of 5 or 6 of them and only been a part of 5 or 6 national championships, it's equal to that to me because it's just as hard. It's just as elusive. I mean, it has been for us. So it's an extreme honor to number one, to make this game with the schedule that you have to go through, and then with an opportunity to win it, it's I mean, we put the years of SEC championship on a wall, and it's there forever. And there's not that many more of those than there are national championships, so it's hard to attain. So I still find value in it.
Thanks, Kirby.
Next is Connor Riley of Dog Nation.
Yeah, Kirby, what is the status of Julian Humphrey? I saw today that he announced that he had intended to enter the transfer portal.
No status that I'm aware of. I mean, I saw the same thing you saw. So we're worried about the guys that we're going to go play Texas with.
So he will not be with the team.
Not sure of that, Connor. Again, like I said, I'm worried about the guys that are here.
Next is Anwar Richardson of Orange Bloods.
I apologize, Coach. I have to hit the unmute button. Coach, I got two questions for you. The first question is, I know you have a ton of respect for Coach Sark and what he does here. What did your opinion of Sark being able to navigate this season and getting Texas to the SEC championship in year one? Just your thought process on what he's able to accomplish. That's my first question.
Well, I don't know that's ever been done before in terms of the first year in. I think I heard somebody reference, besides the first year they had it, somebody had to be first. First year teams have not been able to win their league, the East and West, and now he's done. I mean, it's not East and West, but he still had the best record in the conference and played a really tough Michigan team at Michigan and beat them, and they've done a tremendous job altogether to make it to this game, and he's got a talented roster. I mean, when you look at it across the board, they've done a great job recruiting, and they've made their team better in the portal. Best thing they've done is gone out each year and filled holes in the portal, and that's what makes them have a lot of depth and good players.
The second question, Coach, is you're a huge advocate for the SEC. You know this conference better than most. Why should maybe a 3-loss SEC team have a chance to get into the playoff versus some other teams that maybe don't play in the conference as tough as this?
Tough question, because it boils down to who the best teams are. And I don't, I have repeatedly said, I don't know the objective of the committee. I have openly said that. I mean, if they're evaluators, they probably need to get some more coaches and call some, people that evaluate football for a living, of the quality of it, the depth of it, the teams, because that's how I understand it. They watch the games, and if they're going to watch the games and watch it, you can't measure one team against another that doesn't play each other. So that makes it hard, first and foremost, and it's hard to measure across conference. I think the most telling stats are how the conferences play against each other when they line up and play. But it's a tough judgment. I know that, and this is what everybody wanted. So the debate goes from 4th, 5th, 6th to 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. Who falls in there? So I don't think you can measure things just based on how many losses you have, because the quality of the schedule you play has to mean something.
Next is Anthony Dasher of GeorgiaSports.com.
Hey, Coach, being conference games, especially, an SEC championship, it's about, who wins the line of scrimmage. What's going to be the challenge of matching Texas's physicality up front Saturday night?
Well, it's just that they have tremendous size, and they have major disruption in their defensive line and defensive edges. They've got quick, athletic, big people. They're physical on both sides of the ball. I thought their offensive line was really elite last night in terms of what they were able to do against a Texas A&M front that may be the best in our conference. Just tremendous lines of scrimmage, and like I said, Sark knew that was coming, and he built the team that way, and did a tremendous job in preparation of coming into this league.
And just one more quick follow-up, with Julian again announcing he's hitting the portal, and the postseason not counting toward, a red shirt. How much is Ellis Robinson and maybe some of the other young corners continue to put themselves in position to potentially help will definitely position for this game.
Yeah, all those guys will help. Well, we have multiple guys who will help. It really doesn't have anything to do with the red shirt rule or not, or the postseason plans, because we don't have many guys that were necessarily around that threshold. But they continue to get better, and they're going to give us an opportunity to be better. And Ellis particularly and DeMello both have gotten better throughout the year. They've taken an abundance of reps with our twos and continue to grow and get better.
I appreciate it.
Next, we'll go to Kurt Bowles of the Houston Chronicle.
Kirby, your defense was obviously playing at the top of its game here in Austin against Texas with 7 sacks and held them to 29 yards rushing. Do you feel like, Sark has maybe changed their identity somewhat? They've run for 250 against Kentucky and 240 against A&M last night. Do you see a change of identity a little bit offensively?
No, they're just really physical, and they're committed to the run. I think their backs are playing at an elite level. I think their front's playing at an elite level. They are a physical group. They got a great passer in their quarterback. They got great wideouts. They find ways. They're very creative in the pass game, the RPO game, the play action game. Tight ends playing probably one of the best in the country right now, and they do a tremendous job. But when you look at what the backs have done, they've been, off the charts in terms of that run game. Even the Oklahoma game before they played us, I thought the backs have been elite.
And finally, Kirby, as far as needing to shore up anything with your team, what would you say you want to make improvements on from the last 2 or 3 games?
The list is too long, Kurt. The list is too long.
Okay, thank you, Kirby.
Next up will be Chip Towers of the AJC.
Yeah, Coach, you touched on it a little bit there. I don't think it's ever been a week you talked about a game when it wasn't about running the ball and stopping the run. I guess specifically about your running back, is there a chance that you could have a full complement this week in particular? I guess, with Trevor, and obviously we saw some of Roderick and Branson. Any chance those guys can get to the field? And just, how do you feel about your running game heading into this?
Well, our running game is not where it's needed to be. I can promise you that. But there's a lot of combination parts of that. We've had a dang merry-go-round offensive line year. I've never been around a group that's had to change lineups, especially in practice. We've had probably 5 starters miss entire weeks of practice, and it hasn't always equated to game time, but it equates to game playing ability. So that's one of the biggest things that we struggle with is just staying healthy at the offensive line, and that would help our run game some. Not to mention being healthy at running back would help some. But I don't know if we're going to be. I don't see how you could say we'd be 100% because Branson and Rod are neither 100%, and they're out there trying to play. Trevor's a ways away. I still don't know because we haven't even seen those guys. He wasn't really close to playing last week, so I don't know how that's going to play out. I know that Nate's playing really hard. He's growing up. I don't see him as a freshman anymore, and we got to keep getting everybody ready.
Thanks.
Next will be Mark Weiser of the Athens Banner Herald.
Hey, Kirby, you mentioned about Texas being big and physical. How do you feel like you guys match up with their defensive line this time around?
Which matchup are you asking about, Mark?
Texas's defensive line versus your offensive line?
Yeah, I don't really know how we match up. I want to see the last couple games. I haven't watched all of their games. I only have the thoughts that we didn't run the ball real well in that game against them last time. We didn't do a lot of things particularly well. That's why they're the number 1 defense in the conference and one of the number 1 defenses in the country. So there's a lot of work to be done on our side to try to prepare for them.
And another SEC championship game for you. What have you learned about preparing for this game? I guess it's the 4th year in a row Georgia's going to be in it as you prep for this week.
That whoever you're playing is really good.
Yeah.
Next will be Joe Cook of Inside Texas.
Hey, Kirby, I know that in the playoff, you obviously had experience playing a team twice. I think the only time this may have happened, the SEC title game, was when you played Auburn twice. What's the key to when you only have so many weeks between seeing a team in succession to preparing and maybe throwing something new, preparing for something new? What's kind of the critical aspects of preparing to face a team a second time?
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink the entire process. You have to do what you do well, and you got to stop what they do well. And offense coordinators, defense coordinators, they want to make it about the scheme. They want to make it about changes. They want to make it about how can we execute at a higher level. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to those guys on the field and the strain they play with, and probably who executes better. So, the more things you do differently, sometimes the more you mess things up. You got to go out and execute.
Next is David Eckert of the Austin American-Statesman.
Hey, Kirby, appreciate the time. I'm just curious. Obviously, your pass rush really excelled in that game in Austin. What's kind of your take on how that group has progressed since then? What's your evaluation of where that unit is at right now?
Well, I don't really assess our unit based on pass rush. I assess it on ability to affect the quarterback, get off the field on third down, get people to third down, tackling, and we've had our struggles. I mean, I'll be honest with you, we played a better game actually the other night up front defensively than we did against UMass and some other teams. But it was not going to be about the pass rush the other night. I mean, they had 5 sacks on the entire year, and they don't throw the ball. So it was a very different kind of game. But there's been a lot of games in between this game, our last game against Texas and all the way to Georgia Tech that we haven't played as well as I would like, and can't put an exact finger on what that might be. But I know this: we're going to have to play better than we've been playing because Texas is playing really good.
Appreciate it, Kirby. Thanks.
Next is Brian Davis of A to Z Sports.
Hey, Kirby, I just wanted to know what you thought about the league as a whole this year. When Texas came in, a lot of folks said, "Oh, Texas got criticized for not playing certain teams." I just wonder, do you still think that this league's had a very good year, or has there been other years, or is it down? I mean, how would you gauge it?
Relative to what?
It's history, I guess.
Okay, so I'm comparing the 2024 SEC to the 2023, 2022, 2021, or to the rest of the country, or what are we asking here?
I'm curious if you think that the SEC is down by adding more teams.
Okay, down relative to the SEC or relative to the other conferences?
To the SEC.
No, I don't think you can say Oklahoma and Texas came in the conference and it became weaker.
Next will be Allison Mastrangelo of WSB.
Hey, Kirby. Going back, I know you don't know about the status when it comes to Julian Humphrey, but just during this period, how challenging is it to have this transfer portal open during the time when you have the championship and now the playoffs coming up? I mean, would you like to see it moved or changed until after a championship? I mean, how much more challenging does it make it for you as a coach?
Well, to be clear, it's not open. So I don't know if that affects your question at all.
No, I mean, it opens the 9th, but still, like that, you just even have to deal with this, like upcoming while you're trying to prepare for the championship and potentially upcoming playoffs.
Oh, I'm not dealing with it. I mean, I'm worried about my team. I mean, I've learned in this thing that you worry about the players that are with you, not the ones that aren't, and you focus on the guys that are out there on that field playing it and in trying to win games in 8 overtimes and like that love the University of Georgia and want to compete and be part of it. And you don't really try to focus on the guys that aren't, because they'll be looking for the next stop. I mean, we got guys all over the place that aren't here now that wish they could come back. So it's a decision each kid has to make.
Okay, so just to be clear, you haven't had a conversation or anything yet with Julian about his post or anything like that?
No, I've been at work today. I'm still at work today. I'm not chasing all the stuff around y'all are looking at. I'm worried about Texas.
Okay, thank you.
Wrap up with another one or two, Coach, and Travis Gailey of orangebloods.com.
Hey, Coach, thanks for your time. You were in a bit of a uncharted territory with the 8 overtime game. Do you change anything up this week to give you guys a little extra rest, or do you stick to the schedule that they normally have? How are you approaching that?
We haven't really, I mean, we don't have to approach it just yet because it's Sunday. So, our guys had off yesterday, which is a little unique for us. We've never had a Friday game. We'll decide how we go forward based on how we look injury-wise tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Coach, we'll finish you up with a follow-up from Anthony Dasher.
Yeah, Coach, I know you mentioned that Monroe Freeling had to miss a couple of practices last week. When he's healthy and when he's been in there at left tackle, what kind of job has he done?
He's had his moments. I mean, he's played well at moments, and he's struggled sometimes. I think he's a kid that's growing up. He's getting better. I mean, it's the hardest position to play probably in football outside of maybe quarterback. And he and Ernest have manned that position well. And whoever's been, healthy and been in the game has done a good job. I'm really proud of the things both those kids have done.
Appreciate it.
Coach Smart, thank you for your time this evening.
Thank y'all.